Capablanca defends this position without breaking a sweat. You'll often face opponents who play baseless and unsound attacks. Deep down, you know their attack isn't good enough, but while facing them, it's very normal to feel scared. What do you do in such situations? I'm going to show you a game played by the third world champion Raul Capablanca. He faces off against an opponent who does a very unsound attack against him, and Capablanca defends it without even breaking a sweat. It's like Capablanca's opponent throws a punch at him, Capablanca simply dodges and punches back his opponent and wins the game. Along the way, there are going to be some very useful lessons for you to learn, and I also have a surprise for you. So do watch the video till the very end and let's begin. So Capablanca is playing with the white pieces, with black is playing Gerard Oksum, and the game was played in 1911. Capablanca opens the game with d4. Remember that at that time Capablanca wasn't the world champion, but he was still considered a very strong chess player. Okay, so Capablanca opens the game with d4. Black plays d5, and we have the Collier system on the board, and both sides are developing their pieces. And in this position, Capa plays b3. The idea is to play bishop b2 and take control over e5, but black senses at this point it is their chance to strike in their center, so black plays the move e5. Now the threat is e4, and at the same time this pawn on d4 is under a lot of pressure, so Capablanca decides to eliminate this e5 pawn by playing d takes e5. Black captures back with the knight with the move knight e5, and Capablanca simply develops the bishop. Now a very common idea for black is to capture this bishop on d3, and white simply captures back. And in this position, black has two bishops here, and they kind of make it easy, or let's say they kind of make it comfortable for black to play this position. Okay, this is a very typical idea, but in the game black doesn't decide to capture the bishop, instead plays the move bishop g4, pinning this knight to the queen. Okay, now this knight cannot move. Now in this position, Capablanca had the choice to run away with the bishop either to e2 or either to b5, and to save the bishop and not give his opponent a double bishop advantage. But instead Capablanca plays the move h3, just hitting the bishop. The bishop drops back, and now in this position Capablanca decides to make a very dangerous move. If you're white, I don't suggest you play such a move unless you've put a lot of careful consideration into it. Okay, it's very dangerous to play such a move. Capablanca plays the move g4. By pushing the pawn in front of the king, Capablanca is kind of weakening his king position a little. After g4, black gets very tempted and plays a move. I'll soon show you what that move is. But right now in this position, black had a very good move to gain a slight advantage in the position. Can you find it? Okay, so black can simply play knight d3, cd3 and drop this bishop back to g6. And now what has happened is, with the move g4, white has kind of weakened his king. Next, black can go queen d7. They can play h5, they can hit at this pawn, and they can slowly start to create an attack against white's king. Okay, this move h3 and g4, especially g4, is not helping this white king in the defense at all. Okay, but in the game after g4, black got tempted, and black thought he can at this point sacrifice the knight, and after takes, he has a bishop looking along this diagonal. This king has no pawn cover in front of it, so the king is kind of exposed, and black thinks he has a very strong attack going on. And now this is where Capablanca's defensive abilities are tested. Capablanca defends this position without breaking a sweat. It's like, it seems like his king is under attack, but very simply he defends this position. So my first question to you here is, what will you play with the white pieces? Okay, you can pause the video and you can think, what will you play with the white pieces? Alright, so if you said king g2, trying to protect this knight with the king and also kind of, mobilizing the rook, it's not the best move in the position. Okay, because it, first of all, you don't want to make such moves like king g2 unless you are really forced, and especially when you have a better option available. It kind of allows black to play a very dangerous move, bishop h3 check. Beautiful sacrifice. Okay, exploiting the fact that the white king has no pawn cover. And if you capture king into h3, now there is this queen that comes into the game with a check. And at the minimum that black has here in this position is a draw. Okay, that's the minimum that black has. Black can even maybe try to play a little bit for a win, but the minimum they have is a draw here. Okay, so you don't want to allow that. Okay, so king g2 is not the move. In the game, Capablanca plays a very simple move, bishop e2. Just breaking the spin. With the bishop in the middle, now the knight is free to move. And now the knight is actually threatening to capture black's knight. Okay, knight into e5 is a very direct threat. Black cannot ignore it. Okay, for example, let's say black plays h5, they are losing this knight. Boom. So in this position, seeing that there is a threat on the knight, black decides to play the move bishop into f3. White simply captures back with the knight, knight into f3. And now black plays the move knight into f3 check. Okay, otherwise once again there is an attack on the e5 knight. So black has to play knight f3 check. Bishop f3 happened. And now queen h4 comes. Okay, now what will you play? There is a threat of checkmate on h2. How do you defend against that? So in this position, white makes a very simple move. White plays rook e1, creating an escape hole for the king, so that anytime black gives a check on h2, the king is simply gonna go to f1 and it's gonna be completely safe here. Okay, like black can even give this check, the bishop is simply gonna drop back, and the bishop has basically formed a cover around the white king, and the king is completely safe. Okay, so you see how Capablanca is defending his king even though he doesn't have two pawns in front of it. Okay, with this move rook e1, he makes an escape square for the king. Okay, before I show you the next remaining moves, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Over 90% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribers. Please don't do that. It really helps me when you smash that subscribe button, and when you smash that like button, it really helps me. Okay, please, thank you. So rook e1 was played in the game. Black played the move long castle, and with the move long castle, black is indirectly defending this d5 pawn. Now remember, white cannot go queen takes d5. Why? Because there is this discovered attack after bishop h2 check, king moves and rook into d5. So with long castle, there is an indirect defense to the d5 pawn. So what should you do here? Okay, so once again, you don't want to hurry. You now have to make sure that this king kind of feels more secure. And a very nice way to do that is to play the move bishop g2, which is what Capablanca plays in the game. Okay, this is a very typical way to protect the king. Whenever you don't have pawns, what you can do is you can try to get pieces around and in front of the king so that the king feels safe. Sometimes the bishop will even come, let's say, from bishop e2, f1 to g2. Or in some cases, it can also come from f3 to g2. Okay, both these moves are possible. Okay, very useful maneuver to keep in mind. So bishop g2 happened. Black gave a check, but remember, we always have a square on f1. So the white king just simply, goes to f1. Next move, black plays rook d6. Now black is threatening to bring his rook over along here or here and create some attack along this king. What should you do now? You don't want to make the mistake of capturing this g7 pawn, because it allows rook g8. This bishop is attacked. What will the bishop do? If the bishop drops back, there is suddenly rook g6. And suddenly you have two rooks staring down at the white king, and this king is no longer feeling secure. All of this happened because you opened the line for the other rook to join by capturing this pawn. Okay, you don't want to be greedy like this. Okay, avoid being greedy like this. Yes, it's a free pawn, but if it attacks, if it allows the black pieces to come into the game and to take a aim at your king, don't do that. Don't allow that. So instead of capturing on g7, white plays a very nice move, queen f3. Okay, and now with queen f3, white threatens queen h3 check, threatening to exchange of the queens. Once the queens are exchanged, there is no attack. Okay, because the queen is the strongest attacking piece. The moment you exchange it, the attack fizzles out. Okay, So queen f3 happened. Black played rook h6, preventing queen h6, because after queen h6 there is take and take. And in this position, Capablanca plays the move queen d5. Now it's time to go on the offensive. Now this queen and bishop battery is threatening a kind of a big attack on b7. So black has to defend that. So the black queen drops back to e7, protecting this pawn. And now white plays the move bishop to g7. Now you can play this. Now there is a fork on this rook and this rook. And black still doesn't give up. Black plays the move rook d8, counter attacking the queen. So you cannot capture the rook because you lose the queen. What will you play now in this position? Okay, so Capablanca plays a very nice move that just completely stops black's attack and at the same time simplifies the position, liquidates the position, allows more exchanges to happen in the position. Capablanca plays the move queen takes b7 check. Brilliant move. And black resigns in this position because after queen into b7, bishop into b7, king into b7, yes, white has lost a bishop, but white is gaining this rook on h6 after bishop h6, and white is up a full rook. And with there being no queens on the board, it's very, very hard for black to create any attack on this king. So black is completely lost, which is why after the move queen takes b7 in this position, black resigned. Capablanca won a very nice game. He defended with very simple moves. Like if you see, after g4, all he did was he played very simple moves to defend the game. Brought his bishop, made an escape hole for the king, brought his bishop closer to the king, then brought his queen over, and suddenly started to counter attack and simply liquidated into a winning endgame. And that's how Capablanca was able to defend in this position with very simple moves. I hope you liked it, and before you go, I have a surprise for you as I promised in the introduction of the video. So from July 20 to 31, ChessMood has unlocked all Grandmaster courses. Okay, there are courses on chess tactics, there are courses on defense, there are courses on attack, courses on openings, middle games, end games, all of them prepared by Grandmasters, all of them are unlocked. So take advantage of this by visiting the ChessMood website. I'll leave a link to that in the description. You can go there, you can watch all the courses completely for free, and I hope that helps you improve your chess skills. You can use my link to sign up for a ChessMood account. So yeah, do check it out. Happy learning. If you like this game, don't forget to smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you like this game, you'll also love this game by Raul Capablanca, where he prioritizes fight for a particular square over piece development. Go check it out.